This is the end of Ocean Boulevard where it meets 72nd Street. There's a parking lot to the left, a lot of sand that's being rearranged constantly, and the Alamedas Bay Yacht Club to the right. I'm facing northwest. If I turn around, we'll see that there's water, rocks, and on the other side there is still Long Beach, but beyond that is Seal Beach. And there, that used to be what was called, that little cafe by those trees right there, used to be what's called Rivers End Cafe. The Pacific Electric red car would chug down. I guess they don't chug if they're not a steam engine. Would trolley down Ocean Boulevard. This was a track across and across again to Ocean in Seal Beach. Some things to note. People could pretty much tell the driver if they wanted to get on and off at what was not necessarily a traditional stop. And the train provided access to the peninsula for early residents, because those early residents did not necessarily have cars. They went from horses and buggies to trains, and cars came around later. So just imagine Ocean Boulevard with just a few houses on the peninsula, and the developers wanting to sell properties on either side. From what I understand, they would give some access to income from those properties sold, the plots sold, to the train people, so that the train people would have a reason to lay the tracks. And the red car itself was not very profitable, but it did provide access to the land and property, which allowed the developers to then sell the land and the property. When this track got taken down, according to the stories from one of my neighbors, there were a few people who did not realize and were driving late at night and did not remember that the track was no longer there. And so this grassy area was probably no longer there either, and they ended up either on the rocks or in the there were some barrels that were put up to sort of delineate somewhere between the barrels and the rocks. Yeah, the track went across, and it was so low that the sailboats that can sometimes pass here now were not able to pass. There was also a second track, so this is Ocean, a second track that went down Appian Way and across onto Electric Avenue in Seal Beach, what is now Electric Avenue in Seal Beach. And they would have coexisted for a period of time. They would each taken out at different times, not at the same time. And I imagine, this is my speculation, that they went down at different times also. They were established at different times. So that's what we know according to the stories that I've gathered from people that I've talked to who actually were here and around when these tracks existed. And they have these memories that they have shared with me. This is the Pacific Electric red car. They call it, Paul calls it the little train. So there was a short line. I think they call it a branch line. And this one here was not the one that went all the way to Newport Beach. That was the one that came down Appian Way. So this was the little red car. Okay.